Welcome to the channel. I'm Stacy, and my goal here is to help you to play better and sound better in your worship services. Today we're going to go over the parts for the song Sevens by Brandon Lake. This one's in the key of C minor, and other than the chorus, our parts are all melodic kind of single note lines. And for the chorus, we have a cool arpeggio thing that we'll be doing over 3 different chords, C minor, G minor, and F. And we got these fun stabs that we'll hit up at the end of each run. Let's just get into it. So what we're going to do kicking off for the intro is slide in on the D string up to the 13th fret and then the 12th fret. We're going to strike it on both frets. And then we're going to strike the D string at the 5th fret, slide it up to the 13th fret, pick it twice, and then pick it once at the 12th fret. And once we're up here, we're giving it a lot of vibrato just to give it attitude and movement. The turnarounds are all the same as the second half. So we're striking it on the 5th fret, sliding it up, picking it twice on the 13th, once on the 12th. That's going to happen for the turnarounds as well. So without the effects, it'll sound like this. And with the effects, it'll sound like this. Coming out of that, we're going to be in our first verse section. It's verses 1 and 2. And we're going to be doing some melodic one-line stuff. We'll just keep the effects on. So we're going to be fretting the A string at the 11th fret, and then the D at the 13th, and then the A at the 10th. And it's got this kind of cool off-time thing. It's like this. Following that, we're going to be on the D string at the 13th fret. We're going to pick it 2 times and then 1 time at the 12th fret. And then we repeat that first part that we did with the A string at the 11th, the D at the 13th, the A at the 10th. So all in one run, it'll sound like this. And then we go into another one of those turnarounds with all the screaming pitch and fuzz. And coming out of that, we're into our first chorus. And so we're going to be playing a C minor. We're just going to be fretting the G, B, and high E strings at the 8th fret. And then a G minor, fretting the G at the 7th, B at the 8th, high E at the 6th. And then an F chord, fretting the G and B at the 10th, and the high E at the 8th. We run through that 2 times, and then after each time, we have a down, up, down, muted strings, and then we strike the 3 strings, the B, the G, B, and high E on the 8th fret 2 times. So that whole part, I'll play through it slow 1 time through, and then I'll run through it fast with all the palm mutes and the stabs. And then at the end of that, you want to slide it down just to give it a little bit more body. And so kind of close to tempo will sound something like this. At the end of each of the choruses, then we're going to add the D string to our C minor chord. So we're barring the G, B, and high E on the 8th, fretting the D at the 10th, and then slide it down. This just gives a little bit more movement and a little bit more body to the part. Coming out of that, we're going to be on our second verse section. And for that one, we're coming in on the G string at the 12th fret. We're going to pick that twice, the G string at the 10th twice, at the 8th fret twice, and then on the 7th fret once. And then we're going to come up and pick the D string at the 13th fret twice, pick it twice again, twice on the D string at the 12th fret, and then once on the G string at the 12th fret. And I'll run over all that here in a second. And then we're going to repeat that part, but without the G string at the 12th. So 4 total times on the 13th fret D string, 2 on the 12th fret. And then we're doing a unison bend where we're going to fret our B string at the 13th fret and our G at the 15th. We're going to bend that up. And I did like a rake over the strings before I picked it to bend it, just to give it a little bit more body. And then we're going to come down to the 9th fret on the B, the 11th on the G, and we're going to do a bend and release and then a bend again. So up, down, and then slowly back up, and then we go into that turnaround. So the whole part played through from the G string at the 12th fret will sound like this. All right, now we're into the bridge, and that has kind of an odd timing. I listened for where he was with the lyric to figure out where to come in at the beginning. It was a little bit easier the second and third time, but we're going to be using that vibrato tone again, and we're just going to pick the D string at the 13th fret 2 times and then at the 12th fret 2 times. We're going to do that 3 times, and then we're going to be into kind of a walk down. So we're going to pick the D string at the 13th fret and then the 12th, and then the 12th to the 10th, the 10th to the 8th, and then the 10th again. And then we're going to strike the G string at the 8th fret 6 times, but kind of in an odd timing. 2 times quick, up slight pause, I think 3 times quick, and then 1. You can get that little vibrato too. The vibrato sections just give the part a little bit more body to be in the mix. So that whole part played through at least somewhat in some kind of context will sound something like this. And coming out of that section, the bridge drops a bit more in dynamics. And then when we come in, it's going to be on the instrumental. And we're going to be kicking on the distortion for that. And the part's just kind of a walk down between the 10th and 8th fret from the G string up to the low E. And I'll play it slow and then I'll walk you through it. So we're picking the G string at the 10th fret, pulling off to the 8th, picking the D string at the 10th fret, back to that 8th fret on the G string, and then 2 pick and pull offs from the 10th fret to the 8th fret on the D string. And then on the A string, we're going to pick at the 10th fret and then the 8th fret, and that resolves the first half. The first half of that's going to be the same for the second part. So G string at the 10th fret, pulling off to the 8th, D string at the 10th, G string again at the 8th, D string at the 10th, pull off to the 8th, do that twice. And then the second half of that, we're going to go to the low E string and strike at the 8th fret 2 times. And with all the effects and a little bit closer to tempo, it'll be something like this. Coming out of that, we're into another chorus. This chorus starts on that G minor, but it's the same, where we go right here. But it's the same progression that we did before. It runs through 1 time starting at the G minor, and then 1 time full through with the C minor, G minor, and F. And then there's 2 different ways you can end this song. One would be to do the rakes, where we're playing that C minor, fretting the D string at the 10th fret, the G, B, and high E at the 8th. And the other option would be kind of a hybrid on that instrumental. And that part would be like this. Now with the effects, I hope you found that helpful. If you did, subscribe and hit that like button for good measure. If you'd like the resources for this song, you'll find them at a link in the description box below. There are a handful of downloads free for you in there as well. I hope you have a great week, and I'll see you in the next one.